Perfect.
Hello and welcome to another episode of CS Coffee Chat. Today I have none other than Hassan with me. Hassan, welcome to this episode of CS Coffee Chat. Very happy to have you.
Thank you.
Hassan, we will be talking a lot about customer success, what your journey is, and everything to do with that. But before we begin, I would love to know if you've brought a drink with you, as we do on all of these episodes. So
Yeah,
go for it,
it's
Hassan.
a black coffee. It's a black coffee. I'm a coffee lover. It's a black
Okay.
coffee because it gives me a lot of focus. So I always use black coffee.
Okay, so I am intrigued, Hassan. So black coffee at 5 p.m. on a Sunday. So Sunday afternoon, and you're having black coffee. Tell me, what are you thinking, and what's your rationale behind that?
Right. So since I work for a US-based company and we mostly start our work from 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning, so that's a habit now. I normally have my coffee. So before going to my office, I always do 1 hour of workout in gym. And before going to workout, I always have black coffee because it gives me a lot of focus. And whenever I go to gym, it feels good because I can lift good weight. I can be more focused. So yeah, that's my
Great.
timing of having black coffee. I'm not a morning guy.
Okay. Okay, great. So I'm not a morning guy either, but I do tend to work Pakistani hours and as much as I can. And sometimes they do extend a little bit, but because it's a Sunday, I decided to go with something just very straightforward and water.
Okay.
So I don't have any coffee, so I'm just going to remain hydrated throughout the call. But thanks for that insight there. We know you are a coffee guy, and you can keep sipping on your coffee as we go through your journey. So,
For sure.
Hassan, let's get started. I have seen your profile and you have tons of customer success experience. At the moment, you are a senior customer success manager for a US based company at a forefront. So it's a very well known company there. But before that, you still had lots of experience in customer success. You have some experience at the start of your career in support, I saw. And I'm very intrigued as to what the relationship or how would you relate the two together and uh, what differentiates them and what's similar between both of them. But let's go all the way back. How did you come across a career in customer success? How did you come across customer success profession in general?
Right, right. So when I started my career in customer services, I started with different Pakistani startups and then US-based startups, and mostly I was in a customer support field. But since the whole concept of customer success is very new to the entire world, I think it's
Yep.
6 to 7 years old. So I got a chance to work as the customer success onboarding manager in a company called, sorry, before onboarding, I was working for a company called US Mobile. It's a
Okay.
mobile virtual network operator, it's a fancy term. So I used to work with Verizon and T-Mobile customers. It's more like a support, but the game name was given as customer success manager, but it wasn't a full-fledged customer success manager field. Then I got an offer from another company called Broadpeak in Pakistan. They have a CRM in franchise-based companies. So there, I actually worked as onboarding manager, customer success. So I used to onboard people. I used to help them with creating IDs, data, and stuff. And I was properly managing a book of business. So if you're
Yeah.
not managing a book of business, you're just a support rep. But if you have good number of book of business and you take care of those corporate accounts, I think that justifies the word customer success manager. So that was my
Yeah.
first experience. And then after that, I joined Motive. This is my third year going on. I am loving this role to the core of my heart. Why? Because this role is not just a job. I would say it's a
Hmm.
mindset. And why I'm saying it's a mindset, even since I'm on my off day, but still sometimes my mind revolves around different concepts. How can I improve certain things? How I can make a life in customers' business, change a business. Small example. Since I'm a part of the trucking industry, and we have to deal with a lot of fleet admin, safety managers. I was
Yeah.
driving my car. I was going somewhere, and I realized that I'm driving too fast. And I talked to myself, Hassan, why is it happening? And then I got the answer. It's like my age factor or a lot of adrenaline rush in my blood that I'm, driving fast. Next day, I went on my call with a customer. She was a safety manager, and the problem she was facing was the drivers were doing harsh driving. They overspeed most of the time. I went ahead and I asked her a question. What is the age of your drivers? She was like, why are
Mm.
you asking? And I was like, this is what happened yesterday with me. And I think this has got something to do with the age factor. Are your drivers pretty young or they're, old?
In the
She was
older,
like,
yeah.
well, yeah, this makes sense. And it seems like my drivers are pretty young. Maybe next time when I'm hiring drivers, I will keep this factor in mind to hire
Mm.
experienced and some drivers with age more than 40 maybe. So you see, when you are in the role, your real life also revolves around these concepts.
Yeah. Well, you clearly live and breathe customer success because you are
Right.
here on a Sunday discussing customer success for the community essentially, and you're here citing examples, and I think that is awesome. But also, one of the things that I've always felt about customer success, and you said it's an awesome field, is that there are a lot of life principles that apply to this field. So, for example, a big thing in customer success is relationship management, right? You have to build that relationship with your customers, with the point of contacts, and you have to keep building those. Now, there are lots of things that go into it. There is problem solving, there is, just rapport building, there's understanding their business, it's actually caring. And I think if you apply the same thing to any other relationship in your life, it could be a family member, it could be a friend, if you follow certain principles, as in you care about them, you provide them with feedback, you are genuinely curious about how their day is, about what problems they're facing, you will have a good relationship with those people. Let's say they're in your family, right? You'd have that. And similarly with your customers, if you have those situations, if you have those kind of conversations regarding their business, regarding their roles, regarding what they do, I think you will have a great relationship over there too. So there's so many things that you can, and I think the example you gave over there, that you're thinking about something as your day-to-day thing and you bring it back and it is relevant. I think there's a lot of relevancy between day-to-day lives and customer success lives. And that's why a lot of people I talk to, they say we love it because there is just this natural thing in there.
Just to add on whatever you have said, that was spot on. And when you're a customer success manager, it's really important for you not to interact with the customer, but understand their personas. When I'm saying personas,
Mm,
so every person out there has a different aura, right? And
sure.
I always believe when you're interacting with the customer, it's not like B2B communication. It's more like H to H or human to human communication. If you learn the art of interacting on a human level, other things are going to be very easy. But I think sometimes we intend to involve ourselves so much that we sometimes are very firm and we try to have a B2B connection, but that's a wrong approach. In my experience, I always try to have a human to human connection. And not only that, I
Mm,
also try to understand what kind of a person I'm talking to, what are their hobbies. Sometimes I do ask them. And also I ask them how their day looks like when they're interacting with their business, with their colleagues, or maybe with our system. When I
yeah.
understand how their day looks like, it's very easy for me to understand or interact with that customer. So personification, understanding the persona is very important.
Yeah, and this is, I guess, a really good point you've made. I've never seen someone make that point so directly, which is, before anything, you are a human, and you are a human, and you're talking to another human, and you're trying to make their lives easy. Because in customer success, so if we just look at where did customer success come about, it is the from the SaaS world. So you've got SaaS platforms, and that is where it originated from. Now, SaaS is all about software. And again, the work that you do would include software, would include some kind of hardware, I suppose, but that's the
Yeah.
combination you're talking to. So a lot of time we get this confused that, okay, we're talking about systems, we're talking about processes, we're talking about software. However, at the end of all of this, the maker of it, the user of it is a human person. So if you understand the human person, then you are really going to make them succeed. And that's essentially what this is about, right? Customer success.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
That
Spot
was
on.
wonderful. Okay, so I know you said you love it, but let's go a little bit deeper into it and be more direct. What are the things that you love about customer success? If you were to go 3-4 things that you specifically love about a career in customer success.
The very first thing which I love about this role is when I'm actually impacting my customers' lives, also their business, helping them to achieve certain things in a most appropriate way. That's what I love. And I always tell my colleagues that whenever a customer, I call the customer says hello, it gives me some sort of dopamine hit.
All
And
right.
after that, the tone is set. So,
Yeah.
and I always tell newbies as well, if talking to the customer is not giving you a dopamine hit, you're not made for this job. Change that.
Sure.
So that's number one thing. Helping others, the feeling of being someone who's a source of help to others is something which is really amazing. Building relationship with the customers, understanding the problems which they're facing, how as a CSM I can help those problems. And when
Yeah.
customer says, "Yeah, you're a very nice person, you're a very knowledgeable person," that's something which I love. Problem solving techniques and the best part about this job is it's not you just talk to the customers. You need to be very analytical. Your thought process should be in a way that you should always make it a priority to have the customer first, and you'll be stuck in a situation where the SOP is not going to work. So sometimes you need to go out of the box, think out of the box, and help the customer. There was one customer who was really angry with me. He abused me like for straight 10 minutes, and he was like, "You still here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm here. I'm here to listen to your problem, not here to hang up on you." And he was like, "The previous 4 reps they didn't talk to me. When the moment I started abusing them, they hang up on me." I was like, "No, it's a sin in this industry, so I will definitely help you. Tell me more about it." After having a conversation with the customer, he asked me, "You don't sound American, so where are you from?" Now, the SOP says you're not supposed to show or tell them your location. And at that time, the decision was in my hand. I was like, this customer is already pissed. And if I lie more, he'll be super pissed.
Yeah.
I told the customer that, you know what, I'm from Pakistan and helping a lot of customers from here. And then after listening to that, he was like, "Wow, he was from Canada. He was like, my neighbors are from Pakistan too, and I know how to curse in your language." So that conversation went to a different direction,
Yeah.
and we became good friends. And I was able to retain that customer. So sometimes you need to get out of the box, and sometimes you have
Yeah.
to take decisions at run time.
Yeah.
So that's something which I love, and it's a continuous learning. You learn from the customers, you also teach them certain stuff. So it's a two-way communication, not just one way. So I love
Yeah.
these things. That's why
Yeah.
I'm
Very good. And yeah, this is awesome what you're saying, is because when you relate it to your earlier point, which was around, a human to human conversation, you basically went beyond. You said, okay, there are SOPs and there are things that you're quote unquote supposed to do and not supposed to do. But let me get beyond that and treat this person as a human being and treat this conversation as two people talking to each other. And when you ended up doing that, he showed a side of his life that you would otherwise not have known of. And it took the conversation to another direction. His neighbor is from Pakistan, and perhaps he has good interactions with them, and off you hit, right? And I think just in terms of what you said, liking or what are good positive things about a career in customer success, if you are someone who loves to solve problems and not a standard structure thing, but more so like be creative, try to just get the thing done in whatever way, shape, or form it is needed. So that's a big thing. And dopamine hit that you talked about, I could not agree with that more. Because I think if you're genuinely someone who loves to help others and who gets satisfied, their life satisfaction depends on helping others. If you are not doing customer success, you'd still be helping others. You'd still probably be a doctor, maybe, where you would genuinely be helping others. You would maybe be a teacher where you are adding value to the lives of a person directly. That's exactly what you would be doing. So I think if you are the type of person who loves to do these, and third thing that you said, variety. You didn't say that, but I think the amount of things that you've done just shows that just have, one day you're talking to a customer, you're talking to people in your company, you're being this middle person. A lot of the times you are technical to a degree, but also very business oriented. You have some salesy qualities in you, but you're not overly salesy, right? You have some product qualities in you, but you're not really a product specialist in a way, but you are a domain person too. You understand the knowledge there. So you are a jack of all trades in one way. So if you love the variety in a job and you love to solve problems and you really get satisfied by helping others and making a difference, I think this is then a good career to follow. But surely, Hassan, you might love this today and you ooze customer success, you ooze this positive persona out of you, and I am loving that. However, it's not easy to reach this stage without having to go through struggles. So there must have been challenges as you went from support to a customer success role, which was not really customer success, but support, and then really dedicated customer success. And of course, you still have challenges like you just described in your day-to-day role. So what were the challenges you came across, and what are the challenges that you still face today?
Right. In terms of challenges, I think the whole industry is now data driven, right? And I think sometimes I feel like there are certain tools which should be in place to understand the behavior of customers in terms of using whatever platform they have from any of the company. I'm just giving examples. Since I'm a part of the trucking industry, I would love to see that after doing training for the customer, which part of the dashboard they use the most, how they interact, how their flow looks like in terms of using the dashboard. So the good thing is that the good part is that in Norif we do have certain tools which gives us some sort of visibility, but again, not to that extent where I can see a lot of other details too. So having a tool which will enable CSM to be more efficient is something which is a big challenge. Secondly, the other challenge is retention. Sometimes customers are happy, but the other competitor is offering them very less subscription. So it's very hard for you to retain those customers because you're losing a business. So that's one more element. Third thing is whenever you talk with the customer, you have to note down a lot of points, and then you have to relay that information to the developers, to all the stakeholders who have direct interest in that particular feedback, or maybe some problem which customer is telling you about. So, I mean, there are a lot of tools out there uh, who can record all the interaction using different AI technology. But mostly from our company or from I have seen other people, they struggle because you have to note on a lot of stuff. You have to talk to the customer. You are kind of a multitasker, but still attention is diverted. But with every problem which I just shared, if you love the role, you do a lot of adjustments. So for this particular problem of logging interaction, what I normally do, since let's say if I'm doing a meeting on Google Meet, I record the meeting with transcript, and when I receive that transcript, what I do, hear me out, I post all the content in ChatGPT and give a prompt, give me a summary, and ChatGPT is doing wonders for me. It gives me a beautiful summary, which I put on uh, my particular system. I also give ChatGPT instruction from this conversation. Give me certain, you can say, action items. It gives me those. I share that with my customer. So ChatGPT is doing wonders for me, and I have a solution to this problem. So, I mean, it's totally up to you how innovative you are.
Very good. Yeah, and I love that you reference ChatGPT over there, because one of the things that I personally do is that you can keep a record of these transcripts, because those are all on cloud and on your drive, and keep a record of all of those transcripts. And for a particular customer, if you keep feeding ChatGPT like historical data as well, saying this was the transcript from a call 1, this was from a call 2, call 3 now, some of those calls would be very positive, where you'd be having some very happy conversations. Everything is going well and good. But some of them might be where you're solving a problem. Some of them where a customer is frustrated. So ChatGPT is able to know your relationship with the customer and the customer's specific profile too. So now when you give them your most recent transcript and you say, based on the history that I have with this customer, what would be the best way to talk about a certain thing? That is where ChatGPT will really, and other AI tools too, will really, really shine, is because now they understand the context, they understand your relationship, they understand your profile, the customer's profile, and it can go through tons of it and give you very recommended ways of communicating with the customer. And you could also take away insights to share internally.
Right.
Very good. And I am very excited about AI tools and how they will impact our jobs and our roles in customer success, how they will shape that moving forward. But just for people, aspiring professionals who do not have experience in customer success, how would you describe the challenges that you faced in terms of climbing the ladder, in terms of finding the right role for you? Were you very much always researching, always talking to people? Were you always asking yourself that, okay, I am in support, it's not really satisfying, I am going and I need to find something that's more rewarding? What were your struggles when you went through this career ladder to where you are today?
So the very first thing, and normally when you are in any customer success role, is to understand uh, the tool which your customer has purchased from your company. Talking about myself, when I was hired in Motive, I was really struggling hard. Why? Because that's one thing. So whenever you're new CSM, your first job is to introduce yourself to the customer, and the first call is normally intro call. And
Yeah.
when I started making intro calls, the problem which I used to face was that customers are not aware of who Hassan Akram is. And when I called them, at the back of my mind, there was always a push that this customer is busy, wind up the call, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And in that moment, I was unable to understand the business model of the customer and the persona of the customer. So it's very important for you to be a little calm and composed when you're making an intro call. That's number one thing. Second challenge, that was really a challenge. Uh, I came from a support background, and in this role, I have certain KPIs to achieve, certain number of interactions per day. And the problem which I faced was I have to run after customers knocking their door. Talk to me, talk to me. And
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I have to run after customers to fulfill my KPIs. That's really a bad job. And I
Yeah.
was like, uh, maybe I should quit. Maybe I'm in the wrong position. Then I realized that was the initial phase. That was the initial thought process. When I introduced myself to the customer, when I started making some value in their day-to-day life, customers used to interact with me proactively. I was
Exactly.
like, okay, that was first phase. This is the second phase, and third phase is later on. So you have different phases. It's a
Yeah.
journey. So you start just like small baby. You learn different stuff. When you learn those stuff, you apply those stuff with your customers, and then you become expert, and you
Yeah.
started walking, right? So that's something which no one talks about. And in my company, whenever a buddy is assigned to me as a senior CSM, we have buddy
Yeah.
system. I always talk because this thing, no one is teaching you this thing in the trainings or in the onboarding process. But I normally tell my newbies, this is going to be your mental state.
Mm.
So you have to do these things. I've seen people who became my buddy, and after when they were going through these phases, they were at the verge of quitting their job.
Mm.
I can tell there was one guy who got hired. He was so pissed with this job that he actually wrote a resignation, and he was about to send it to the manager. The good thing is he talked to me. He was like, "This is what is going on, and I'm going to resign." I like, stop, listen to me. I shared my personal story with him so that he
Yeah.
can resonate. And when he heard my story, he was like, "I'm going through the same thing. It's the same
Yeah.
story."
Yeah.
So he was like, "Okay, I can wait and let's see." Can you believe after 1 month that guy slacked me? Was like, "Dude, you are an angel. Thank you so much. I'm loving my job now." And thanks
Yeah.
God, I stopped sending that resignation email to my manager at that time. So thanks to you.
Excellent. That is so inspiring. And I think, like I told you, you are making a difference to not only to your customers' lives, but with the story you just said, to people's lives too. But the bigger point you're trying to make there is there are phases where it's not going to be all uphill or downhill. It's going to be up and down. And of course, you have to have an expectation that at least in the beginning, it's going to be quite tough because you are the one who needs to build that relationship. But after
Right.
you are seen as a trusted person, someone who can solve the customer, solve problems for your customer, the customer is going to be reaching out to you directly, and that is where the fun would really begin. That is really good. Now, if we were talking to aspiring customer success professionals, or maybe even someone, Hassan, who is working in a field and is considering entering the field of customer success, what advice would you give to them specifically? What would you say? Hey, Hadid, I know you're considering a career here. Do these few things to land a role as a customer success person in a company.
Right. I think the very first thing is you should have a tendency to help customers, and you should always feel good about talking to the customer. If you are here for a job just to earn money, you're not at a good right position. So I think you should genuinely love helping and talking to customers. That should be one skill set you have. Secondly, you should have problem solving skills. When I'm saying problem solving, it's very important. You should have a critical thinking. How you can develop that, that's another topic for another day. But
Yeah.
you should always think of different ways of helping a customer. Imagine yourself, you're stuck somewhere and no one is there to help you out. So, I mean, putting yourself in customer's shoe and imagine if this is happening to you, what makes you feel happy and good if someone will do certain stuff. Just think of that way. You will get a lot
Yeah.
of techniques in solving the problem. Third thing is time management,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, you have to achieve certain KPIs. So time management is something which you should have. And the last thing is you should be a good listener, because it's all about listening to your customer. You should be all ears and understand their problem, understand what makes them feel happy, what makes them feel bad, and try to proactively solve those problems, understand the feedback, relay that information to the right stakeholders so that customer will be happy at the end of the day. It's all
Yeah.
about building a good relationship with the customer and giving success to the customer. So the word customer success means you are always there to give success to your customer. And
Yeah.
these are the basic techniques and tips or the skills that you should have.
Very good. And I think that was very, very helpful because, these are a few things that you need to have, not necessarily have at the beginning, but if you want to pursue a career, these are the things that you should develop, and you could develop them in all sorts of ways. And again, that could be another topic we can talk about another day. But for now, Hassan, thank you so much for your time. It was lovely talking to you, getting to know you and your journey, and learning so many valuable things and tips and tricks from you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much. Bye now.